One of the most frequent questions I get from people is, what can I do to help my loved one that was just diagnosed with cancer? For all of you asking this question, this video is for you. Welcome to the Inspired Vitality Show. I'm Catherine. In this video, I'm going to give you suggestions for what you can do to help the person you love who has been diagnosed with cancer. The answer is complicated because there is no one answer. There are people who are open to receiving any form of help from anyone, and there are others who want to have boundaries around the type of help that they receive. Also, the newly diagnosed individual may be a little too caught up in emotions and the medical details to be able to comprehend what exactly they need at first. These needs are going to change over the course of treatment too. Your loved one is fortunate to have you in their life, fortunate that you have cared enough to ask the question. The amount of help a person needs may depend upon whether they are living alone, with others, or if they have young children. However, these suggestions may be helpful to anyone, so let's jump into it. Depending on your loved one's insurance plan, things are going to get costly. Money may seem impersonal, but believe me, it comes in handy. Many medical facilities charge for parking, and although the patient may have their parking ticket stamped for a reduced rate, it's going to add up over time as they go to appointment again and again and again. I suggest you do some investigation into the location that your loved one will frequent. If there is a cost for parking, ask if you can pre-purchase a parking pass. If that's not an option, money for parking is a helpful gift. If you want to get really creative, you could get a bunch of $1 bills and clip them together in the amount of the exit fee. For example, if you know the patient will be charged $4 each time they have an appointment, paperclip $4 bills together and put as many bundles together as you can afford into an envelope, label it parking money, and this will allow them to grab a bundle each time that they have an appointment, and they're covered. Becoming a CaringBridge administrator is another way to be helpful. CaringBridge is an online journal for those going through a medical crisis and allows everyone to keep updated on the status. Sometimes the patient themselves wants to take on the journaling as it can be cathartic, but sometimes it feels like just too much to keep up with. Having another person with the ability or password to post a journal can be helpful, but it does need to be somebody close to the situation. Another great resource is Care Calendar. It is an online calendar that the patient or family member sets up. Then, the patient or family member provides people with access in order to sign up to help. It has many uses, but basically it coordinates help that is needed by the patient or family. When you set up the account, you can, for example, simply ask for meals and provide preferences, but it can also be used to coordinate rides to appointments, caregiving of children, or providing help around the home. This allows the patient to receive exactly the help they need without directly asking somebody to do something for them, which is sometimes difficult. I'm going to link to both of these resources in the video description. If your loved one is going to have surgery, such as a mastectomy, in which they will have surgical drainage tubes afterwards, one helpful item is a holder for the drainage bulbs. In particular, something that can be used in the shower. This was one of the best gifts that I received. The patient may have drainage tubes for an extended period, and they can be quite cumbersome. When dressed, the tubes can be clipped to clothing, but in the shower, it's helpful to have a place to put the bulbs on the end of the tubes. You can search online for surgical drain holders or for the choices that are available, or check with your local mastectomy store. Some other things that I received after my diagnosis that were really helpful would be button-down soft pajamas, soft hats, soft blankets, and earrings. After a mastectomy, there is pain and limited mobility, and it was helpful to have a button-down pajama top. During chemo, a person can get cold, so the hats and the blankets came in handy. Notice with all of these things, I said soft. Post-surgery and during treatment, your nerves are affected, and the softer materials felt the best for me. I also received pretty new earrings, which were nice when I was wearing hats and scarves to feel a little bit more dressed up. Receiving meals during chemo for me was huge. In hindsight, I wish I had accepted the help with meals a little bit earlier in the process. The fatigue from chemo is like the worst flu that you've ever experienced. You might shower, for example, but then have to lay down immediately because just the act of showering is exhausting. So while a person may be capable of preparing meals, it is helpful to have them in the freezer or something freshly prepared. If the patient is having a hard time eating, the family will appreciate the meal. Some chemo drugs cause a metallic taste, which leads to nausea and difficulty eating. And one thing that I found helpful is incorporating smoothies. If your loved one does not have a blender or a smoothie maker, perhaps collecting money for and purchasing a blender could be a group gift. Individuals could then create smoothie bags. A simple one would be to put 1 to 2 cup berries, 1 to 2 tablespoons of flaxseed meal, 1/2 cup frozen spinach, and 1/4 of an avocado into a freezer bag, freezing several of these bags, and then providing a liquid such as almond milk. I suggest doing a few of the bags at first and see how the patient likes them and adjust ingredients for their preference. That cold, fruity flavor of a smoothie was one thing I found very palatable during the chemo process. If your loved one does not use an online calendar to coordinate helpers, when you do offer help, be specific. To say, for example, let me know what I can do to help, puts the responsibility on the patient. It is so much better to say, for example, I can come Thursday and pick up dirty laundry and bring it back Saturday. Would that be helpful? Or you could say, I'm available Wednesday or Thursday if you need me to run errands. Or you could ask if mowing or snow removal is needed. Or perhaps you're starting your day and you know that you're going to be going to a big box store. You could send a text and say, hey, I'm going to the store. Do you need any toilet paper or household items? And simply making that specific offer. Use your strengths or interests to guide you, and then by giving these examples of what you're willing to do to help, you provide the patient with the thought process of, yes, that would be helpful. It plants a seed, and then they're more willing to accept your offer. Finally, just be there emotionally. Allow your loved one to say anything, and know that their moods will swing drastically. There can be so much fear in a diagnosis and pressure to be positive. I truly believe a positive attitude is essential in healing. However, it is also essential to acknowledge all emotions. The key is to not live in fear. So, listen, acknowledge, and consider laughter. A person can have cancer and laugh. Texting or emailing your loved one a funny video will put a smile on their face. If your loved one is typically an affectionate person, don't forget to offer a hug. If surgical sites are a concern, then hold hands. All of these things that you can provide are helpful, but kindness and compassion in the forms of listening and sharing and affection are really what your loved one will remember when they have healed. Drop me a comment and let me know if these ideas are helpful to you. If you want more insight into the thoughts and experiences of a cancer patient, be sure to check out my video, Dear Loved One, A Kaleidoscope Letter. See you soon.